Welcome to FX Options University, recorded live at the International Securities Exchange, the world's largest equity options exchange. Join the industry's top trading professionals as they provide insight and strategies for trading in the currency markets using FX options. FX options are a low-risk alternative to hedging currency moves in any market condition.
So although we may, in this bigger picture look at the AUX, see a possible declining wedge suggesting a continuation to the upside, the fact is our MACD still trends to the downside and our RSI is still trending to the downside, and we really do need to see a break of a major pivot point in order for us to take that trade. So it's important to make those observations and understand that if you have to try to convince yourself that there is a particular opportunity in place, then sometimes you're best just to stand aside. This information should come together to make you feel comfortable with taking a particular view on any one of these pair values. Now, I just see there's a question that popped up here: what determines the RSI and MACD time frame? With respect to the relative strength index, I like to look at it over. Because I'm looking to trade my directional views over over sort of a more of a swing trading position, so we're looking at maybe being in a position over a couple of weeks. I put it on a 30-day just to kind of see what the trend has been in place for the last month. As far as the MACD is concerned, that 12.26.9 tends to be a very standard set of numbers that's utilized, and I find that they work very well. But I will tell you one thing. Regardless of what numbers you're using for your indicators, for us anyways, the trade does not take place until the chart itself, until the action on the pair values indicates that there's an appropriate entry. So even if we have MACD crossing over and RSI turning up, for that matter, until we were, say, to see a break above this 110 level, just as an example, we'd be standing aside from the trade. Remember, it's the price action, the pair value action, where you make your money on these options, not whether or not the MACD is crossed over. So we want to see that the pair value actually break a particular level, either above or below, to be that final decision as to whether or not we're getting into a position. So just to summarize, guys, a couple of things that you always need to keep in mind that'll make things a lot easier when it comes to analyzing these pair value price charts. Create a little checklist for yourself as you analyze these pair value charts. Establish your directional bias through one of the means that I've essentially suggested here this evening, whether it's a MACD crossover, whether you see something in the RSI, or whether you see a particular pattern is one thing. Once you've assessed that and you've established your directional bias, look and see what other indicators are supporting that. It might be pattern identification. It might ultimately be, do your lower indicators confirm that particular move? But the final decision, or at least that works well for us, is has the price action or the pair value action signaled the entry? And if the answer is no, then you may have 4 or 5 opportunities sitting there, and ultimately only one of them may be an appropriate one to take action on. Remember that you don't have to overcomplicate things. Remember the pivot points. Keep your technical analysis as simple as you possibly can. Remember your trend line basics. An uptrend makes higher highs and higher lows. Downtrend makes lower highs and lower lows. Remember those little pieces of information, and unless you can unless you observe those particular characteristics in a chart, then it might be appropriate to stand aside. Don't try to see what's not there. In other words, don't try to convince yourself that it's an appropriate opportunity, and try to convince yourself that it's that there is a particular pattern or something is happening that may not necessarily be happening. It's more appropriate to stand aside and wait for the information to come to you, rather than you trying to force a trade in these pair values. Don't rush to trade. Be patient. Remember that there's lots of opportunities out there, and in fact, the ISE has obviously listed a few new currency pairs that we can trade as well. But the fact is, try to create a mechanical approach, establish your entry points and your exit points before you actually enter the trade, and that way you'll be a little more mechanical at the way you manage it. And finally, the idea is just to make sure that you practice. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent staring at price charts to more or less become comfortable with it. But guys, the more you do it, the more effective you're going to be. So on that note, just a couple of pieces of information here. First of all, if you guys are interested in checking out the services that we have at optionsource.net, you guys can just hit up the site there, optionsource.net, and we in fact offer a 30-day trial, no credit card required. We just want you to come in and check us out and see what we're all about. So feel free to visit the site, and if you have any questions, guys, I'm not going to have an opportunity to stick around and answer too many tonight. I apologize. I'm actually out of town right now, just kind of doing this on the road. So I appreciate if you do have any questions, guys, then you can certainly email me at jason@optionsource.net, and I'd be happy to deal with your questions on more of a one-on-one basis. And finally, just a reminder that the ISC has a fantastic webinar schedule for you guys to take advantage of. We can cross that top one off the list right now. That's the one that you guys have just sat in on. But as you can see, there's quite a few in the hopper for the next couple of months, and I'll be joining you once again on May 11th from the looks of things. So looking forward for that. We're going to talk a little bit more about how we're going to use these charts for strike price selection, and how we might look to throw some credit spreads in place based on some of our technical observations. So on that note, guys, I'm going to just wrap things up for this evening. As I said, I'm going to have to cut loose here a little earlier. Ilanit, I hope that's okay by you. And as I said, if there are any questions, please, folks, feel free to contact me, Jason@optionsource.net. In fact, I'll type in my email, and we can sort it out from there.
Thank you, Jason, on behalf of ISC and everyone who was able to join us this afternoon. We really appreciate that you were able to present on this very relevant topic. And Jason's webinar is going to be archived and available tomorrow morning. So just look out for the email, but it's going to be available on fxoptions.com/events. And once again, as Jason noted, we have webinars coming up in the next week. We have two, the first with Dan Passarelli and the second on Thursday with Randy Frederick. So thanks again, Jason. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to send an email directly to Jason, or to send it to ask@fxoptions.com as well, and we can refer any questions directly to Jason, as well as posting anything on our in our trader forum on fxoptions.com. So looking forward to seeing everyone next week, and have a good afternoon.
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks, Ilanit.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. Get trading ideas, exchange rates, webinars, news, and commentary. Visit www.fxoptions.com. ISE FX options can be easily traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.